This is Alex with Evershade Gaming, and today I'm joined by
Andre Wheats, aka Trains Get Robbed.
And Maxwell Lepora, otherwise known as Mooksy on the forums.
Cool. So today we're going to be going through the rest of the Buckeye Army lists, starting off with Dwarven Holds.
Yep, Mr. Leroy's list is Dwarven Holes, and he has a king with the Rune of Destruction, the Rune of Fury, Rune of Smashing, Rune of Iron, kind of a standard king build. He has Talismanic Runes ×2, so his ward save goes to a 5-up.
Yeah. So pretty defensive, pretty smashy too.
Yeah, well, he has a shield, so with the shield and shield wall rule, will go to a 4+.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That first round. So
only a 2-up armor save for right now, but it's if you had like shield bearers or something, maybe he wouldn't need the shield, but it's a mute point. He's got a 2-up 5-up. That's pretty good.
Yeah, typical smashy dude. Don't touch this guy. You'll get obliterated.
Yeah, you'll be deadzo. Next up, he has a Thane with the Rune of Lightning ×3. The Thane has Talismanic Runes for a Dragon's Breath attack as well. So this guy's pumping out, 3 times D3 plus the 2d6 Breath weapon at Strength 4 as well in combat. And then he has... Yeah, then he has a 1+ armor save, and he's toughness 5. So, I mean, it's just... And he's a BSB, so, I mean, you're not going to kill really the BSB unless you have a dedicated combat threat and magic help. I mean, and he's just there to grind down big blocks of troops.
Oh wow! So he's seeing over everything, even of standard height. So
exactly.
That's pretty nice. I mean, I would call this guy the Durham Special. Honestly, I think that's pretty much where this guy falls into.
Well, this entire list actually is almost identical to what Jeff Durham ran at Battlecry.
Is it?
I've seen it before. Yeah, almost. It's not. There's a couple different things in there. Like I don't see the what's that? The stone that makes you have no flanks or rears when you get charged.
He's got the Hold Stone on his king.
Oh, he does have that on his king. Okay, so this list is almost identical to Jeff Durham's.
Maybe it's just like a stone anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, maybe this might be more of like an internet. I don't want to say internet meta list, but this maybe is kind of like a meta list, kind of like maybe with a couple tweaks to his flavors. But
what's he got on this Runic Smith?
Yeah, continuing on, he's got the Runic Smith with let's see here, Rune of Devouring, 1 use only. So you can just each one of your spells after it goes off. Rune of Grounding, where maybe activate at the start of the melee phase, and all spells with the duration 1 turn within affect the bearer's unit or enemy units contact with the bearer come to an end. And he's Rune of Harnessing. So Rune of Harnessing is all models within have their channel within 24 inches have their channel reduced by 1. Yeah, so that's pretty tasty. So it's just kind of like, oh, you channel ×1. No, you don't. So you could actually. Oh my gosh,
it's so anti-magic. It's crazy.
Gross,
yeah, that's everybody.
If you have like 5 models, or like if you're like a Demon's Legion player or something, right? And you're like you have like core troops, or you're a Dark Elf player like Ben Nelson's list, where you have like those 5 cav units that channel. All that stuff is like, no, you don't channel.
Yeah.
Like you could get 0 channels. It's just your magic phases are going to be like 5 to 5. That is really rude.
Very BM play there.
Continuing on, he's got the Anvil of Power. I'm not going to go deep into that, but 4 or 5 up, and it also has Magic Res 2. What else? Engineer, so we can give one of his War Machines in Trench, which you'll see later on. He has some War Machines. Next up in Core, he's got 27 Greybeards with the Flaming Standard and Hand Weapon and Shield. So those Greybeards have crossbows, and they're going to be shooting stuff from a distance.
Greybeards? No, there are clan marksmen beneath that, but the Greybeards and the crossbowmen are different units.
Oh, excuse me, that's what I meant.
And we do have to remember these champions. So there's this champion thrown in here, so it is 28 bodies as well.
Yeah. So he's got 28 Greybeards, and then he has 20 crossbowmen. The Greybeards have a Flaming Standard. The crossbowmen do not have a standard. After the crossbowmen, he has 19 Rangers.
But they do have the crossbows, yeah.
They do have a crossbow. They're hitting on a 3+, vice the 4+ from the crossbow marksman. 10 miners, guessing for scoring, can run interference, chaff maybe. ×2 steam copters, and then ×2 artillery pieces. 1 being an organ gun, and 1 being a catapult. The organ gun, is it flaming? It is not flaming, but he has the all hits caused by organ gun gain +1 to wound modifier on it. So that's really good. So every game, you're probably going to entrench the organ gun, keep the artillery piece 36 to 48 back behind his lines, because the artillery catapult is long range. So overall, this list looks almost identical to Jeff Durham with like one or two different I guess
Just
tweaks to
different
it.
tech choices. I don't know. Just super solid list. I mean, you got a really strong group of characters in here. Just so magic defensive. You got a really super killy Lord King in there. Thane is just throwing so many breath weapon, just extra special attacks around. And then you still got a solid block of Greybeards, big units of Rangers and crossbowmen for range damage, miners to hop up behind something and just mess it up. And then
And
you
scoring, don't forget about that.
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
for sure.
certainly. You just easy scoring units in those breakthrough scenarios, especially for dwarves.
Hmm.
Piece there, double copter for the chaff. You got an organ gun and you got a catapult. I mean, very solid.
For me,
I don't see anything I would
yeah.
change.
For me, this list is, I guess, an attaboy for a dwarf list. I'm kind of, I don't think this list. I mean, this list isn't going to win a tournament. I don't think, because there's a lot of armies that will walk into this list and go, quite literally can't take points off the list. There's too many things with a good armor save, a ward save in combat. I can't fight it. Like Ben Nelson's MSU, like other elves, they're going to sit 30 inches away or like within 35 effective, move in, try to pick off the copters, the chaff, maybe the war machines, and take a 11-9, a 9-11, a 13-12, 13-7, 7-13, etc. So I feel like he'll have a lot of games that are kind of a close to middle, like that kind of range, and then it kind of comes down to like who his other opponents are. So I mean, if he doesn't run into those elf lists or those other lists that can outrange him or range just as much, and there's all combat lists like some of the DLs, some of the WDGs, he'll fare better because those lists have to engage him. But while it's a good dwarf list, I don't know. It doesn't inspire.
It's very defensive. It doesn't lose hard, doesn't win hard. I think.
Yeah.
Makes a poor choice and decides to just engage it and just come at it. So, I mean, overall, I would give it an attaboy. Alex, how do you feel?
Definitely an attaboy. It's interesting to see how the gun line has kind of reemerged after being like disencouraged by the way that the rules have really incentivized units that move really quickly, units that can get across the board, making units a lot more resilient to shooting. So someone who wants to invest this much into shooting again shows that they've made great strides in making shooting worthwhile again.
Sure. No, I think it'll do well. Really depending on play, depending on opponents. We'll see. Good luck, Leroy.
Yeah. Moving on to Reese here. I'll go ahead and read this one. And especially just since I love this list so much. So starting off, we've got the first of 3 Dragon Seekers. This one is Grim Resolve with a great weapon. Weapons, of course. So that's going to be consistent between them all. Figure they are, yep. Unbreakable Vanguard, Hall Priest Standard, of course. And then 2 Runes Quickening. Dude's super fast. We're looking at agility, is it 9? No, it's 11. Yeah. This dude's agility 11. Get out of town. And then the Rune of Destruction.
Can you do that? You can break 10, yeah?
You can break 10 for sure.
I don't know why he's agility 11. Like, that shouldn't be a thing in a dwarf book.
Why not? He's got 2 Runes of Quickening.
He's a dwarf. Dwarves are so slow. I just dislike that from a fluff
He's not wearing any clothes. He can be as fast as he wants.
It's all good.
He's got the Rune of Destruction, so he causes D3 wounds with his weapon in combat, which is pretty awesome. With paired weapons and Grim Resolve, so he's like walking into ogres and just annihilating them before they even get to strike.
Well, I mean, Drewski's salty because he's walking into Highborn Elves and just smacking the crap
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Good lord.
It's going to be
It's
awesome.
all good, though. It's all good. Dragon Seeker. What else we got here, Alex?
So the second one here, this one's a Monster Seeker. Let's see, he's of course got the multiple wounds 2 against large and gigantic. And that is anything that is large and gigantic, not just specific troop types, rather. And then he's got a Rune of Fury. I believe that's an extra attack. A Rune of Quickening to go up to agility 8, 9 when he charges. And then Rune of Smashing. I believe that's the Strength 5 goes to Strength 10 if your Resilience 5 or higher. Yes. And
Very
AP 10 as
spicy.
well. Pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And then, so that Dragon Seeker's just killing monsters before they even get to strike. That guy will kill my Minotaur Lord, as we'll see later. Or actually, considering the timing in these videos, you've already seen it. So, the last Dragon Seeker, Looks like he didn't take Grim Resolve or Monster Seeker on this one. He just wanted to have an extra one, probably for challenges and stuff. So he looks like he's naked. 210 points. Yeah, no runes or anything.
Yeah, I mean they're pretty deadly on their own. So
definitely, that like 210 points is paying for a hell of a stat line.
Oh yeah.
Then he's got a engineer. This one's the general, which makes a lot of sense. Just because you don't want those Dragon Seekers having to pay those extra 200 when they get killed inevitably.
I mean, you can be just as reckless as you want with them. So.
Exactly. And it's true to character. It's a good role-playing list.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good role-playing list.
Good RP. Good RP, Pete Reese.
And the Rune of Denial is a Dispel Scroll, essentially, so he's just going to really shut down someone's magic phase. Let's see. A whole bunch of Clan Marksmen, as befitting the rest of this list. Looks like 11 Guild Handgunners, 10 more Handgunners, and then 10 more Handgunners. He doesn't take any command in these units. He just plops them and shoots for the whole game.
Whole body.
Then we've got 2 units of 10 Clan Warriors, one with Vanguard, the other with throwing weapons. Just really good, cheap scoring. 160 points for 10 great stat lines. Just great.
I mean, they're tough. Scoring, they get their triple march, so actually moving pretty quickly. You can just plug these guys onto it. I mean, just throw them on the side of the board, just kind of run them up if you need to.
It's really cool.
So
the ward save, like the army gets just in general, is also you can just do so much with it.
Super strong.
He's got a rune-crafted organ gun for just blowing away whole units at a time, and then I thought this was interesting. 2 steam bombers. I was expecting to see the normal copters, but he's going for the full bomber complement here.
Nice.
Which I feel is an interesting investment, but it goes along well with the rest of his list.
I was gonna say, I mean, it definitely adds a whole lot more because he's able to pluck off, these units of chaff, kind of clear way for his seekers. Because otherwise, I mean, people are just probably chaffing that unit up left and right as much as they can. So.
It keeps going. We've got a vengeance
not
seeker.
That much of a point investment either. I mean,
Exactly.
It's 175 for a regular copter, and then you're paying, what is this, 210? Did I see 210? Yeah, not too big of an investment. Gets you some extra damage.
I think it's definitely worthwhile. Then we've got a single vengeance seeker whirling around by himself. We've got 10 miners, naked, just scoring, ambushing, great paired weapons. He's got then a unit of 9. I believe these are the skirmishing seekers that he throws the monster seeker in. I'm imagining, and maybe even possibly that second one, but that's really all just depending on his matchup. And then 21 more seekers. These ones are in a ranked up unit. And
I mean, this is
no
meat
command.
and potatoes.
Yeah, so that's why he took the extra single giant or not giant slayer, but dragon seeker, because he just has no command in any of these units. Oh, sorry. I'm wrong about that. He does have champions, but he did not take musicians or standards.
That is interesting. I mean, I find musicians to be almost auto-included in most everything.
Right.
I wish he had put musicians in all of these shooting units as well. I know
Look at all the points he saved.
I know, but I guess especially with them being the handguns, they're really taking it, even if they do move. But it's still good to be able to have that mobility, in my opinion. But
just to be able to react to a fast opponent or something. But with him having so many units, he can really just kind of dictate the game, I feel, because he has so many zones that he can just overlap in spaces and keep people out of those areas. And sorry, just to continue and round out the rest of the list, there's a cannon.
This dwarf list that Reese has, honestly, I've never met the guy. I know he's pretty active in some of the Facebook groups, and he runs a lot of stuff down in the south, I think Texas. But honestly, this list just makes me feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. This is what dwarves should be. This is
got a hell of a list.
This is fantastic. This is MSU dwarf awesome sauce. This is like what a lot of the guys in Europe will bring and play, but it's like a nice little twist on it because he's got his own flavors. He has two artillery pieces in there. He's got a third a seeker lord. Like it's just, I mean, sure you could add musicians to some of the shooting units like you guys said, and
then
maybe
you can't have
bombers.
a third dragon seeker.
Yeah, maybe the bombers could be copters, but honestly,
I think I couldn't give this a bigger attaboy. Honestly,
this list is hardcore attaboy.
He's really running that MSU quite hard. I definitely would give it an attaboy. There's a couple things I'd like to change, but I mean overall, I think the list is quite solid.
Big attaboy stamp. Alrighty.
Big attaboys. Dwarves are rocking it right now.
And finally, we've got Maxwell on Mr. Wayner's list here. Let's see what he's
Yes.
got.
So for Wayner, he's also rocking a king here. So second king for the Dwarven Holds. He's running, let's see here, Rune of Iron. He's got some armor. Rune of the Forge, so he's got some flaming defense. Overall saves, we're looking at just a 1-up.
Yeah,
Doesn't
very
look
cheap.
just besides the regular Dwarven shield wall. Special rules on shield bearers, so he does have the additional wounds, which is really nice. But yeah, other than that, pretty naked. I don't see anything too special here, other than just still fairly solid king. Next off that, we're looking at a Thane. Runic standard of shielding. So he's given the Aegis 5-up against shooting attacks to his group of guys around him within 6 inches. I guess, turtley type of play, and really defensive, obviously.
I don't know,
really
man.
protecting these guys against those shooting attacks.
He's got a pistol. He wants to be up in your face.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it is. But this guy, so he's got some flaming defense. Any Infernal Dwarves running into these guys are in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, it's interesting. I never see anybody take the Rune of the Forge. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, 2 characters already with some flaming defense, which is pretty solid. After that, we got a Runic Smith. This guy looks to be kind of a beast. Pretty standard build, actually. This is the Jeff Durham special once more. He does, from what we're looking at, have 3 runes of lightning based on the prices that he's paying here. But otherwise, pretty solid guy, pretty naked beyond those from what we're seeing. You guys have any input there?
He's a little weak. Only resilience 4, 3-up armor save. Like, he'll blow up if someone gets into him, but hopefully that shouldn't happen. So it kind of feels like the lightning's a little bit wasted.
It's kind of a strange choice to put on the Runic Smith, because the Runic Smith only has 2 attacks.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't hit with either of those attacks for some reason, then he doesn't get the benefit of those Rune of Lightnings. I'd put it maybe on a Thane, just because then you an extra at the 3rd attack statistically. But I mean, it's not bad. It's not great. It's just kind of
You're cool.
It just could blow up.
Yeah, I mean, the only guy that this really would impact is if he's going against those hatred targeted units. So when he's king, he still gets, what is it, D3 hatreds that he can throw out?
Why is it a rule?
I think it's like 2, but yeah.
Is it? So he still gets a couple of targets he could possibly go into. But yeah, he's just going to be sitting back, possibly in these marksman units. That's something that might be a little wasted. Moving forward, going into his core, it looks like he's running a unit of 24 clan warriors. These guys, looks like sword and board. Seeing this right? So pretty standard there with the clan warriors. Nothing too scary, but pretty defensible still. We got some graybeards, another unit of 24, so 224 bricks. These also hand weapon shield.
Yep.
So nothing too crazy on the offense with either of those. Unit of clan marksman finishes up his core section. So a little bit of shooting, 2 pretty decent sized medium bricks for just some steadfast and whatnot. We got some deep watch. 20 deep watch with a champion in there. Looks like some other command as well. These seem small. Units of 24, 24, 20 deep watch. He's got 20 Kingsguard.
Are you saying the dwarf seems small?
Well, it feels like he's running everything in the book in units of 20, except for the Clan's marksman.
I mean, these are going to be some pretty substantial bricks at this point. You're going to have to spend multiple turns running through these.
I mean, just 20. I feel as though, especially with these Kingsguard, you're going to be able to run through quite a bit of them before they get to strike back.
Depends on how wide he's running them, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I disagree, but let's carry on.
If he had a more substantial king, then I would be a little bit more scared. But I don't think the character set up to back up these units to make them scary enough. Obviously, then we have another 20 seekers, looks like, and then
spicy take.
2 cannons and an organ gun. So, what are you guys' thoughts? It sounds like you disagree.
Ooh.
Yeah, this list for me is like an MMU list. While you could make the king stronger, I feel making the king not quote unquote like OP, like over the top with all the runes and just make him like unkillable. makes your opponent want to engage your blocks. And because he's like an MMU style, he's got like what 4 of these units. He can score pretty actually 5 with the Clan Warriors. He could score relatively easily, and none of these units outside the Seekers are going to be taking like any wounds because everybody's got 3-up armor, a 5-up armor, a 4-up armor with a 5+ war because he has the shielding standard, so nothing can shoot it. And by the time you engage the blocks, you all get the ward save in the first round. This list like it invites you in, but like it really you really don't want to be invited in because I mean this is similar to the first list with Leroy where the ward saves, and if you're playing like a T3 army, the ward saves and everything else in this list between the characters not being so over the top but being just enough will, I feel, keep the blocks intact. I mean, outside of like a dedicated combat unit like the Plague Furnace and Monks, or like what is it, like all those new chosen warriors you can take, or I don't know, like the Pharaoh UD Pharaoh block and rolling in there with the Pharaoh King in there, like full wounds, like. There's not a lot of units that are going to be able to steamroll like his King and the King's Guard or the Deep Watch with like that Smith or that Thane in there in one turn, and then he's just going to countercharge or he's going to send out whatever objective it is. And unlike Leroy, he has an additional cannon, so statistically, every single turn he should be hitting with a cannon shot, barring he doesn't misfire.
Well, they don't really misfire anyway.
Yeah, correct. I mean, they don't really misfire anyways, but
just to reroll. I mean. I can understand that. I still disagree, though. I think that the units are too small. I don't think the characters are scary enough. And I think if someone rolls in with a big block that is very scary, I mean, he's just going to start rolling up some of these units.
Let's talk about the real sin of this army list here. He didn't take a rune on his organ gun.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Anyway, I give this list an Tisk. I think it's got a lot of really good elements in it that can work well together in the right circumstances, but I just want to see the characters worked a little bit better, I feel, and maybe like lose one unit to bulk up the rest and put some better runes on your characters. But other than that, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'd probably say, as much as I do like the list and like some of the characters, how they worked and how it bites you into close combat a little bit, quote unquote. I'd probably give it an Tisk just because against those armies that do have a specific close combat dedicated unit that's like your Death Star, quote unquote, and that is a lot of the meta. And we already seen some lists that have that. If they can isolate on a particular block, they could possibly blow through that unit, or they could probably do enough wounds to make that unit, not stick from steadfast, etc. So, and then it kind of comes down to how he places his other MMU units around it. Add a Tisk, almost borderline attaboy for me.
Mm-hmm. I'll actually go with a Tisk. Well, I just wish the characters were a lot stronger. The King in particular, to help back up these Deep Watch and Kingsguard. I think that was kind of the only way to really make this list perform well, in my opinion. Obviously, Wiener can really play his heart out on this one and do really well. But I do wish him.
But if you do make the character stronger, right? Let's say you give him like the Super King, right? Let's say you have the Super King.
Honestly, in regards to his King, he needs to make it 10 points cheaper, in my opinion. But we'll see. Anyway.
Moving on.
Okay, so boys, what do you think are your favorite Dwarven Holds lists?
I guess I'll start. My favorite Dwarven Holds list has to be Pete Reese's, because the MSU spiciness is just, with the Slayers, perfecto.
I agree. Reese's is definitely my award, for sure. What do you think, Maxwell?
It's very spicy. I'm going to go with Leroy. I'll be more traditional. I just King setup. I like the Thane, Runic Smith. It's all so good.
Definitely. Let's look at Infernal Dwarves with family favorite Justin Berge.
A prophet with the Tablet of Asherok and Path of Alchemy. He has a 3-up, 5-up. He has a second prophet with the Book of Arcane Mastery and Pyromancy, again with a 3-up, 5-up. The second prophet with Pyromancy is an Adept. The first prophet I mentioned with Alchemy that has the Tablet of Asherok is a Master. If you don't know what the Tablet of Asherok does, it takes a Veil token from your opponent, and then it adds it to your pool at the start of their magic phase.
Can I say, just so good.
Oh, so
amazing
spiced.
Builds here.
I'll finish later.
That character setup is spicy.
Quite good.
Jalapeno spice. All right. Next up, he has a Vizier with Icon of Inferno, which synergizes perfectly. Icon of Inferno says, when a non-attribute, non-bound spell is successfully cast by a friendly wizard within 12 inches of the bearer, and after the corresponding path attribute of the spell has been resolved if applicable, the bearer may automatically cast Blaze attribute from Pyromancy. He's on 1 dice, the Fireball from the Book of Arcane Mastery guy. Sometimes maybe 2 dice if he has Pyroclastic Flow if he wants, and it's going to be cheap to cast because he's going to get a +2 on it. And then he's going to cast all the spells from Alchemy, make things flammable if he wants with the Hereditary, if he's dropped something from Alchemy for the Hereditary. And then he's going to get the attribute at least twice a turn. So, I mean, he's getting tons of spells off.
Oh, yeah, he's going to blaze you all over the face.
I'm curious,
Sorry.
Maxwell, do you take 2 copies of Haze at this point?
I would, actually. I would love to take 2 copies. I'm actually loving this character setup.
Yeah, dude.
I'm just so mad that I didn't think to do it first. I just love it so much, because I've been running just a Vizier and a Master for so long. But with this Book of Arcane Mastery, this magic just becomes so good. It's just, he's probably getting maybe 3-4 blazes off a turn.
So good.
Smoking people with their like chaff and stuff like that, just gone. Like, take it off.
Your friend-appointed title of Best ID is under threat with this beauty of a list.
Bergie's lucky, I'm not running my Infernal Dwarves this Buckeye Battles. So, I can't lay claim to it. However, I think he would have the better list.
Yeah, he dodged it.
I might just copy him for next time. We'll see.
Ooh,
So
hot
that's
take.
good.
Going through the rest of the list, we have 2 Hobgoblin Chiefs and to round out the characters, and they're quite literally just there for scoring. They have shields on wolves with is it light lance, light armor? Not even a light lance, just light armor. So they're just there to vanguard forward and be chaff. Next up, we have Core. We have Citadel, 16 Citadel Guard, 10 Citadel Guard, and 10 Citadel Guard. I'm guessing the characters go in the 16-man unit, and the other 10s just sit on either flank, so he can dive out of there when he needs to jump ship.
Yeah, and it does look like he's changed this up a little bit. I know he was running some magic on this bigger unit for a little bit. For some reason, he's dropped that out. Maybe there's other efficiencies that he's found on the list, but one small change I've noticed.
Scrolling down further, we have 5 Turok, the small guys, right? Yep, 25 by 50, the small guys, and they have the baby boys. They have a 3-up armor, 5-up Aegis against flaming attacks. So this is there for scoring.
Just scoring, guys. Pretty tough.
He's got 2 next up, and for I guess War Machines, he has 2 Hobgoblin Bolt Throwers for redundancy, and an Infernal Artillery, which is a Volcano Cannon.
Yeah, dude.
And that's the one that hits you, and then what, your DTs or something like that, Maxwell?
No. This is just a regular flamethrower, but it has just longer range. Still does the strength 5 short range, strength 4 long range.
Yes.
Does D3 wounds at short range.
So good.
Oh, this is the ogre kill. Oh, this is gross.
Yeah.
Super spicy, just great at zoning, especially.
Hits on a 2.
Well, he
Alex,
just has this incredible platform.
Do you just auto lose Alex if you go up against Bergie because he
Yes.
shoots you with his D3 cannons and your
Yes.
10-minute darts die?
That is correct.
I mean, so he's got
Well,
this that's doing multiple wounds.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just such a great zoning piece. He has the Hobgoblin Bolt Throwers, and then he has a couple of other pieces here that are also great. But
Well, you have Druidism, I guess, Alex. You could regrow guys back. But
Yeah,
all right, let's
I
continue
have-
on. He's got 3 more units left in special. So he has a unit of 6 Kadim Incarnates, a unit of 3 Kadim Incarnates, and lastly an Infernal Engine. And the Infernal Engine does have the shrapnel guns.
Good old
Sometimes
crutch.
a bigger quote unquote interdiction threat, like it's a big range threat which never does anything. But sometimes it does do something. In those games, it does do something. You just fist pump like Tiger Woods.
yeah, it just has such swing potential. It could do nothing, but then it could also just like take an Ragnarok off the table.
Right. Totally win the game for you.
Yeah.
So
Even when it does nothing though for you, Mooks, like the crutch, it holds up things which you can't handle
Yeah,
sometimes.
it
with
demands a
little
lot of
Oh,
respect.
that's the main point of it. Is it just gets in the way of stuff and holds it up. And if it does end up blowing something off the table, then all the better.
It's only 450 points. Are
Yeah,
you
dude.
kidding me?
Yeah, it's
How is
cheap
a
as hell.
Fire
So-
Phoenix? A Fire Phoenix is 420, and that's
We're not here to talk
450.
about that. And besides,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Fire
God.
Phoenix's
Let's not
price
argue
is the best
points.
price you can have. Anyway, this is an attaboy for sure.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
this is-
certainly an attaboy.
This
Or he
is
knows what he's
like,
doing.
if I could put an attaboy with a power symbol next to it, I would.
This
But
is an attaboy with the subtitle attaboy.
Yeah. No,
yep.
I definitely love this list. There are a couple of other good ones though here for Infernal Dwarves. So.
And speaking of, let's go into cash dollar. I will go ahead and start us off here. This one's a little bit out of order, but that's okay. We got 2 units of 10 Citadel Guard and Core, Champion Musician Standard Bearer on both with Flintlock Axes. Totally identical, 340 points each. Good scoring.
Beautiful.
We got an Overlord General. He's got the Onyx Core, Potion of Swiftness, Gauntlets of Mad Zab, sitting on a Great Bowl. One of the scariest characters in the game. What do you think, Maxwell?
He is super freaky. I used to run this guy all.
But is he a super freak?
He is a super freak. He absolutely is. Only change I've decided to make recently is dropping the gauntlet because he just, I mean, even with the hatred, sometimes he can blow through stuff, and I've almost killed myself and have killed myself, I could say, several times because of these gauntlets.
Good old gauntlets.
It can be troublesome. It's kind of a double-edged sword.
Do you think in the situations in which you did kill yourself with the Gauntlets of Mad Zab, he'd still made his points back in that same game?
That's tough to recall.
No worries.
I would say the gauntlets are probably not worth it, even though they are so cheap. I would probably just go with a great weapon.
Just to be safe, yeah.
Yep. So still same strength, essentially, or comparable strength, I should
It's
say.
comparable, yeah.
Yeah. Great weapon's one other build, but I mean this one I fault him for this. I just technically on my side I would rather not take the.
No
I mean,
worries.
yeah, you can always give that guy a different magical enchantment because he's not even full in character points.
Right.
He's only at 155.
Actually,
So-
Maxwell, can they take paired weapons?
No.
That'd be so cool though if you get a hero's heart on this guy.
Oh, good word.
You could. What's the other one though? Is it the 45-point one that gives you a max of
Touch of Greatness.
Touch of Greatness? Thank you. You could take Touch of Greatness like on a hand weapon or something if you wanted
Yeah.
to, or just outright Bless Inscriptions, which is just tasty licks.
Anyway, we got a prophet here. He's a master. He's got 2 binding scrolls. He's Path of Alchemy. Nothing else. Perfectly fine.
Very defensive. Very defensive. Missing the best item.
No tablet.
No tablet.
What's going on?
Which is troublesome.
Scrolling down, we've got both the Crown of the Wizard King and the Icon of Inferno on our BSB Vizier here. Pretty cool.
That is pretty nice. He gets the extra couple of spells.
He's really looking for that Raven's Wing.
I mean, he's quite cheap, honestly. Beyond the crown, I mean, this guy's what, pretty bare bones. Let's see.
Very cheap.
Yeah, really didn't add anything to him, which is how I love to play this guy.
Mhm.
I do like the addition of that crown, though.
Yeah, he just sits in those units of 10 and just blasts dudes all game.
Yep.
Keeping going down here, we've got a Kadim Titan with 575 to complement the bull very well. We've got, let's see, 2 units of 3 Turok Anointed for scoring. We've got Champion, Musician, Standard Bearer in all 3 units. They run Infernal, Weapons, and Shields, so super defensible.
I do like these. Yeah, both with banner schmutz. They are
Banner. What?
3 units or 3 models. I would have probably liked to see a big unit of like 5 instead of 2 units of 3.
He does need the scoring, though, is the problem, because he's only got 4 total scoring units at this point, I think.
And it might have been a choice on his side just because he might not have the model.
Maybe.
Are a better.
That's the last unit on the list. Is the
Yeah.
15-man unit Citadel Guard.
And full command of
Which-
them, also Flintlock Axes, pretty good to round out that list there, where you can expect the bigger characters to sit up.
So, Alex, what do you feel about this list?
I think it's like an Anatisk. It's really close to being really good. It just needs a couple of things, like Maxwell was saying, to maybe make the Overlord a bit more survivable. Maybe make the Turok a more competent scoring unit that can really go in and grind through some stuff rather than having to really worry about what their matchups are going to be. But other than that, it's also just kind of small, which is a bit of a worry, but that Infernal Dwarves in this style just tend to be anyway, so it's not a big deal.
So
Yes.
for me, we'll leave the ID boy for last. For me, it's an attaboy. This list. So I don't feel that the tablet is an auto take.
Oof.
Just like I don't feel that the banner becalming is an auto take in Highborn Elves.
Yikes.
They're both good items, but when you have channel 3, 4, 5 per turn, or with some of these other armies in the game, taking one veil token away is nice statistically, but it's at the end of the day, it doesn't affect the magic phase that much.
I mean, if someone's
I
running
do
against
love-
him, he only has 1 channel, so
Correct.
he wouldn't have any.
Okay. Yeah, okay, correct. But what's a bigger thing is always double binding scroll. To me, if you're not going to take the tablet, the only other way you get out your profit is this way. This is stellar. Double binding scroll hedges his matchups against UD, can help hedge his matchups against vampire counts. Even armies that have druidism that regrow wounds, being able to stop regrowth on 2 phases, or being able to stop the UD attribute for 2 phases while there's anointed run into combat or Citadel Guard shoot or the alchemies things off is huge. Like honestly, I like that. I like that setup a lot. And while the tablet's better, I think in the Icon Inferno tablet Alchemy Pyro combo, I think just because he has mainly a Master Overlord on Alchemy and he doesn't have that backup Pyro caster, I think this might be a better setup for him. So attaboy for me, big time.
Yeah, and I would agree. I think this is an attaboy. Very solid core choice. I love the characters. I wish there was a tablet, but I understand the double binding scroll as well, for that same reason that you mentioned out through. But yeah, very solid. Still has the icon. 2 units of 3 anointed, I think, are still going to do a lot of work, which is really nice. And so for this list, I would definitely give it an attaboy. Very solid list.
Excellent. All right, moving on here, we've got Mathis, and I believe that's on you, Maxwell.
All right, so rolling through Mathis here. Let's do it real quick. All right, so we got a Prophet. He's running the Essence, so very solid choice. Tablet of Asheruk. So he gets his choice, Alchemy Pyro. Got the tablet, very solid pick there.
He's running a Vizier here. He's got, let's see, Destiny's Call for that 4-up, yeah.
Yep.
Crystal Ball, Hobgoblin Chieftain Wolf for some chaff. He even took throwing weapons on it to make it extra efficient. We got ourselves 20 Citadel Guard. Banner of Shemut, interestingly. I feel like I don't see that very often. Just hand open shield, sounds pretty good. We've got, looks like 12 more Citadel Guard with axes. Musician, no standard, that's fine. Same thing, another 12-pack. And then 14 Immortals with the Icon of the Infernal. A little bit small. That's alright. You don't need too many dwarf bodies just because they're so defensible. Let's see. Obviously, Icon of the Inferno, super, super good. We've got 5 Hobgoblin Wolf Riders. We've got a Grenade Launcher Gunnery team. I've never seen anyone take this before, so I honestly have no idea what it does. Range 18, shots D6 plus 1, Strength 6, AP 2. I mean, hits on a 4-up. That seems alright. Or I guess it is a volley gun, so it would still misfire on a 6, yeah. You just want to hit, but
Strength 6 is kind of spicy, but
yeah, interesting. Just depending on the number of hits, but I feel like you need 2, even at 150 points. And the flamethrower is just so good; it's so hard not to take.
yeah, I don't know. I take a flamethrower.
He's got a volley gun as well, which he can obviously choose the number of shots between D6, 2D6, and 3D6 on. It's Strength 4, AP 2, hitting on 4-ups. I think that has so much more potential than the grenade launcher does. But anyway, rocket battery. Looks like a rocket battery. Nothing too special about that guy. We've got an Infernal engine with the shrapnel guns as a crutch, of course. And then the Kadim Titan to probably take that other flank or help solidify that one with the tank. So pretty defensible list, even more so than the others, I feel.
This list to me is the perfect epitome of a castle list. It's Protect the Castle, where you sit back with your war machines and you counterpunch with something that is a highly mobile, highly elite threat that's in a small package on a small base. Now, sure, the Kadim isn't necessarily on a small base, quote unquote. I think we can all agree that the crutch with the shrapnel gun upgrade, he's got enough to hold things up and then just take it out with shooting. And the 14 Mortal Guard too, just to hold the banner, I feel is like a low-key nice choice because sure they're not going to fight big units, but anything that kind of survives and gets to his line, he can just throw the 14 Immortals into it. Like, all right.
I don't know. I kind of disagree with some of that. So there's the 3 units of Citadel Guard. He's got the Kadim Titan. He's got the crutch, which is really nice with the shrapnel guns.
Come on, go off, Maxwell. Go off.
Grenade launcher, volley gun, rocket battery. And it's just they're tough. I mean, I don't see them taken very often. Hopefully he can do well with them. But when it comes to gunnery teams, the flamethrowers are just so much better.
I know.
Rocket battery costs so many points. I mean, 285 points for this thing. It just doesn't hit very often. And even when it does, it doesn't typically have the impact you wish it would, just because it doesn't have very much AP, even with the Strength 7. The tank and the Titan are the highlights of the list. He's got this. I mean, the Immortals are super small. Overall, I would go with a Tisk.
Oof.
Wow, it's a second tisk from the Mooksy today.
I would give it an Adatisk. It's almost there. It's got some nice elements, but I feel like the weapon teams could definitely be optimized. The character builds are okay, but I feel like you might have even underinvested because you might want to see like an Overlord, especially when you're taking Immortals. But other than that, like I was saying, it's close. It's almost there.
Yeah, for me, same thing. Out of Tisk. I feel like you just need redundancy in the weapon teams, the gunnery teams. I feel like if you had double rocket battery or double gunnery team or double flamethrower, it'd be better. And then, like Alex said, the characters, while the Prophet is elite with the Essence Free Mind tablet, the Vizier having Destiny Call and Crystal Ball is kind of lackluster.
Yeah, it's a little odd.
It's not necessary.
You might as well just take the Icon of Inferno because those guys aren't meant to be in combat; they're meant to cast. So.
Right.
Yeah, save the points. Don't take Immortals, and then throw points into like Incarnates or something like that.
Yeah, something that can really do some work.
Or Anointed. Either Anointed or the Incarnates would have made this list so much.
I especially think the Anointed would have been a great choice for this list so they can keep up with the Kadim Titan. And then let's check out these ID lists. I think I could probably speak for everybody when I say that Bergie's got quite a list here.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Bergie's going to do the best.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite list out of the IDs, although Bergie's list is great and it's proven, Cash Dollars, Cash Money. I love his list.
Spicy take. Can't disagree with the big bull. That's for sure.
Alrighty, well, we'll see you guys in the next video.